The art scene is alive and kicking in the mother city, and we are loving it. From First Thursdays all the way to the small art galleries that are in and around the mother city. Now, we caught up with the local artist Brundyn at the Brundyn studios this past weekend.
I'm quite a young artist. I studied at the Michaela School of Fine Art, which is the art department of UCT. I graduated there in 2012, and since then I've been trying as hard as possible to make as much art as possible. I've exhibited at quite a few artist-run pop-up shows, a lot of young curators, that sort of thing, which I find very interesting. And I've also exhibited with Brundyn Plus, the gallery where the show is at now, at the Joburg Art Fair last year and the Cape Town Art Fair last year as well, and 1 or 2 group shows, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really think that I have a style. As you can see, if you look around my exhibition, everything is quite different. I have paintings, I have sculptures, I've got photographs, I've got little objects, I have more installation sort of things, so I guess it's quite hard to pin my work down to a particular style. I also don't think that inspiration sort of rains down from above. I find I have an interest in a lot of things, and they sort of plant their seeds in my brain and brew over time. I guess this ranges from anything from Wikipedia to walking into shops, and as you can see in my show, there are quite a lot of products like bubble gum and soap and that sort of thing. And I find branding and advertising quite interesting, and what that says about the culture that it comes from. And in the context of my work, what it says about how we view the landscape and how we view our society and how that fits in together. So while we're here, this particular piece is called The Lure, and I've used a lot of, which is typical of my work, I use a lot of found objects that have their own set of signifiers. And these are insect luring bulbs, and fishing lures and feathers and all sorts of things that are used to attract insects and fish. And I find it quite interesting that they don't have any real reflection of anything in the natural world, but they actually work with animals, they attract animals, but then they're these kind of bizarrely separate from anything natural, which I find really interesting. I mean, they look more like something that came out of a rave than something you'd find underwater or in a beehive or whatever. So I sort of put them all together in a chandelier type of format. I guess they don't really catch anything, but at the same time they sort of pretend to be trying to catch everything. They seem to catch people sometimes. I like making artworks that have a life of their own, and I like imbuing inanimate objects with things that are quite human. And I guess also looking at the landscape and projecting human emotions onto things that seem to be quite sterile. These are my meteorites, and they're in fact popcorns that have been cast in bronze and also painted with nail polish. I liked the idea of staying at home and watching a sci-fi and thinking about, eating popcorn and thinking about popcorns as flying through space, and they become very dramatic, which I guess a lot of my work takes everyday things and tries to make them somewhat extraordinary. This work is called Potential Energy Solutions for the Dawning of the New Age, and it involves powering light bulbs off of goji berries and crystals, or seemingly powering them off goji berries and crystals, which apparently have a lot of energy. Goji berries are nature's superfood, which gives people loads of energy, and I guess it's a sort of joke at trying to solve an energy crisis in these ridiculous ways, which are obviously very impractical. Most of my art is made using very low-tech processes and everyday objects that I find at second-hand stores or around or at my mother's house. I think this is interesting. I would like to take everyday objects and make them something extraordinary and sort of relieve the monotony of every day. So I hope you come and check it out. It's up until the 3rd of December.